Welcome back, freshwater fishing novices. My name is Moles. This is Freshwater Fishing Novice Friday, and I'm the Freshwater Fishing Novice. What are we talking about today? You guys already know from last week if you watched the video. Talking about line types. Bonafide Tarzan said, can you do a video on fishing line, the different types of fishing line? So, this week's video, we're going to talk about fishing line. So let's get right into it. All right, freshwater fishing novices. Fishing line can be a little confusing, but this week we're going to break down the properties of three, I probably shouldn't hold up six, huh? Three different types of fishing line. There's three main types. The first type of fishing line that we're probably not going to use right off the bat as freshwater fishing novices is going to be braid. Why aren't we going to be using this right off the bat? It's expensive, it can cause a lot of problems and give you a lot of headaches, but forget all that. Let's talk about the properties of braid. So first off, braid has virtually no stretch. Now why is that good? For one, it increases sensitivity. So since there's no stretch in the line, if something pulls on it, you're going to feel it. So if you want to take, let's say, cheaper gear, like a rod, and you want to increase the sensitivity, you can throw braid on there. That's one upside of braid. Now what's another property of braid? It's highly visible. So you can see it in the water, but unfortunately so can the fish. So that is an issue. If you tie braid directly onto your lure, it's going to be more sensitive, but there's going to be a direct connection that the fish can see. They'll be like, that lure looks, no, that looks fake. What's that? When I use braid, typically it's going to be on a fast moving bait, or if I'm pitching into pads like with a frog, because you want that quick sensitivity and hook set. Also, braid's a lot stronger. If you drive a single hook or a double hook like in a frog into that fish's mouth, that braid's going to allow you to set that hook nice and hard. You don't always want that, especially as a novice. You can bend out hooks really quick, which I found out this year because I've been messing around with braid, trying it out. Another reason braid is really good is because it's highly abrasion resistant. So if you get into some thick stuff like pads or weeds or whatever, and you have a high pound rating for braid, you can really just saw right through it. I've also heard this, and I've kind of had some problems with this year with braid, since I've been using braid this year. Sometimes certain knots won't tie properly. The braid will slide. I've lost leaders and stuff like that way, or I have braid to a certain leader and it just curly cues out, and I'm like, oh, I have the braid and my leader and lure are in the water with the fish. It's not a novice line to use. Braid floats. So if you have a sinking lure, braid's going to prevent that from sinking at the proper rate. You might not want to use braid for certain lures. What lures would you want to use braid for? Anything with a large single hook that you need to get that hook set in. Anytime you're throwing in heavy cover, using a fast moving single hook lure. I'll use direct braid to my spinner bait. What's braid good for? Strength, horsing fish out, sensitivity, and the properties are it floats, highly abrasion resistant. It's good for top water stuff. So anything you're fishing on top of the water, typically you can go straight braid to it. But let's get into the real meat and potatoes of what line you guys should be using between these next two. The next type of line is monofilament. Now what's monofilament? Monofilament's been around forever. It's been around since like the 30s. It's got a high amount of stretch as opposed to like braid has no stretch. The mono's going to give a lot more. You might be saying, why would more stretch be better? And let's talk about the other properties of monofilament line. Like the braid, it's visible to fish, so you got to be careful when you use that. And it also floats. I use monofilament personally, anything with treble hooks. If anyone hooks a fish with treble hooks, if the fish comes out of the water and shakes its head and it's got treble hooks and they're lightly set in there. So here's the deal with treble hooks. You're not setting like a single hook. You don't need all that power. All you're doing typically is just reeling down and pulling your rod up. And if they come up and try to toss those hooks with their mouth, that mono is going to stretch and it's going to stay in the fish's mouth, so it's going to be harder for them to throw. This is what I personally believe. This isn't the end all be all of everything, guys. My general rule of thumb is if it's got treble hooks, it's got mono attached to it. Typically, monofilament's going to be colored line. It's going to be like a green or a blue, or it's going to have a tint to it. So the fish can see it, it's visible. The good thing about monofilament is it can handle a lot of abrasion as well. Kind of like that braid, but they both float, right? Best part about monofilament is it's cheap and it's easy for beginners to tie knots on. The knots seem to not be as problematic as with braid. So if you try to use monofilament with a single hook or like a frog, you're going to go to set that line and the action on your rod is going to bend over, and then you're going to have extra stretch from the line, so you're going to have to try even harder to get that hook set. If you're trying to drive a single hook into a fish's mouth, stay away from mono. So another property of monofilament line is it absorbs water. I didn't know that before I started making this video. I looked that up. I was like, what? What happens when it absorbs that water? It adds to the elasticity of that line. So it's going to give it even more stretch. So that's monofilament. The last type of line we're going to talk about today is going to be fluorocarbon. What's going on with fluorocarbon? Unlike the braid and the mono, it sinks. It doesn't absorb water. It's not highly visible. It's practically invisible in the water. If you're trying to be sneaky, if fish see the line, they'll stay away from that lure. Sometimes you need to use monofilament. It has less stretch than monofilament. It's got more stretch than braid. If your lure's sinking, you want to use fluorocarbon. That's my thinking on that. If you guys feel like you've found something different from that, you can go ahead and leave it in the comments. If I had to tell you guys to get anything as far as what fishing line you should start off with, if you're fishing treble hooks, you want to go with monofilament line. If you're fishing anything that sinks, use fluorocarbon line. It's the easiest way I can break it down. Hopefully that helps you out, Bonafide Tarzan, and everyone else, all my other subscribers and new subscribers and just random viewers popping in. I hope this helps demystify what the line is and what you should use it for. I hope this information helped all you guys out today. Thanks for coming back to Freshwater Fishing Novice Friday. My name is Moles. If you guys liked this video, it was helpful, go ahead and like and share with a buddy. If you have any questions, anything about fishing that I can help you with, leave it in the comments below. I'm more than willing to answer your questions, and I'm eagerly awaiting them. What else do I got going on? Just leave me comments, let me know. I know that roughly 13% of my viewers are subscribed, so thank you guys for subscribing, you 13% of people. There's 87% of people that aren't subscribed. I don't know what's going on over there. Is it just hit the bell, make it turn from red to gray, then you'll be subscribed. It's free. It helps my channel out. It helps other people find fishing information, which is kind of the point of this channel, guys. Once again, thanks for watching this week. Thanks for all the comments and questions. It's been Freshwater Fishing Novice Friday. My name is Moles. This is the Freshwater Fishing Novice YouTube channel, and I'm the Freshwater Fishing Novice. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll catch you next week.